What's up guys, and welcome back to Shredcraft RC. I'm Cam, and this is episode 4 of the FRX RS front motor project. So in the last episode, we got the chassis assembled, got the electronics in, and everything set up to box stock specification. And now I think it's time we make a body for this thing. So painting RC drift cars is kind of an art form. You're painting Lexan and you're painting from the inside and layering different paints and stuff. Over the course of the years that I've been involved in this hobby, I've done numerous bodies, and I have a few videos that I can link up here in the description of different liveries and paint jobs I've done in the past. And recently I've been testing out some new paints and getting some swatches to test out what layering the different colors achieves as the final outcome. So these are pearlescent paints that I've been testing. I'm honestly not really happy with any of these swatches. So I've still been in the brainstorming stage figuring out what I'm going to do for this car. Now I did pick out a body, and you guys are going to see that here in just a second. In this video I wanted to keep it maybe a little more beginner oriented and focus on building a clean street car. So we're going to do a single color paint job and keep it nice and simple. So in this video I'm going to show you guys everything from trimming a body to applying the window masks to laying down some fresh airbrush paint. So let's see if we can't come up with a cool little paint job for this FRX RS front motor project. Sometimes picking out a new body for your RC drift car can be an overwhelming decision because they have so many options, especially in the world of JDM legends. So for this car, I picked out the Pandora RC Nissan 1 Via. This features the 180 SX front end and then the Silvia S13 rear end. So I think this is kind of cool, unique body. I think this is a perfect candidate for the clean street car look, especially on the FRX RS drift car. So here are my swatches. I've been testing some paints, and then I already got the bumpers trimmed because that's quite a detailed process. And then I'm going to give you guys some tips on how I trim out the wheel wells, get this thing cleaned up and ready for paint. One of the more important tools that I like to use, this is called an Olfa knife. These are snap blades, so you're able to snap the blades off, get a fresh blade in there. These are really sharp, but I like using the score and break method for the long straight lines. So I will set the camera up on the tripod, but basically what I'm going to do is follow the small halo lines on this chassis and just score it with a light score, maybe go over it a couple times, and then I'm going to snap the Lexan off. So I'll get you on an angle over my shoulder and we'll start trimming this body out. So I'm sure some of this audio is going to get messed up because Lexan rubbing on the cutting board isn't the best sound in the world to hear. But basically what I'm going to go ahead and do, and I'm sure I'll probably speed this up in the editing, but I'm going to take my knife, and then you can see there, well, you probably can't see, but if you have a body, you can see there are these light lines around the areas that you need to trim off this excess Lexan. And then when we get to the wheel wells, I'm going to use a set of curved scissors and get those started. But overall, most of this process I'm doing with a snap blade, and I'm just lightly scoring everything, maybe going over it a couple times, and then I'm going to bend and snap it off, and it leads to nice clean lines. And then before I wash the body and do the window masks, I'm just going to go over everything with a fine piece of sandpaper and smooth out any rough edges. So now that I have my score lines here across the front area of where the bumper is going to mount, I'm just going to take my scissors here and I'm going to trim right up to the score line, and you'll see how that just split. And then I can fold this and it will break right along my score line. Now I know the audio is probably getting messed up, but I'm going to do this part on camera, and then I will probably trim the rest of it off camera and move on to the next step. So I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see on camera, but left a nice, smooth, straight cut line. So I'm going to go ahead, knock the rest of this out, show you what it looks like after, and then we will move on to washing and applying the window masks. So I've gone ahead and I got all the wheel wells and bumper cutouts trimmed up. Everything came out fairly clean. There was a few little rough areas here. I don't know how well that's gonna come up on camera. So what I'm gonna do is just take a light piece of sandpaper. This is just a 220 grit, and I'm gonna go around all the edges, kind of smooth out these areas before I wash the body and apply the window masks. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that off camera because I'm sure the sound will be horrible through the microphone. When I come back, I will show you kind of how I scrub the body, some tips that I've gotten from some professionals, and I am by no means a professional body painter. Something I forgot to mention was taking your time when trimming, because you don't want to have your blade slip and go onto an exposed part of the body where you'll have a line cut through, and I've done that in the past on bodies, and it's always heartbreaking that you've come this far, even though we're just at the beginning, but you've essentially put a big old scratch in your fresh paint job before you even have it painted. Good rule of thumb here is take your time. This isn't a race. Usually it takes about a full day, if not 2 or 3 days, to do an entire high quality paint job. So I'm going to focus on quality since we're building a street car here, super clean street car. So I'm going to go ahead, get these edges smoothed out. Maybe we'll throw it on the chassis just to make sure all the dimensions look all right, and then we'll give it a wash, start applying some window masks. So now that I've got the body sanded down, let's see if this is going to fit this car. Yeah, going for a super slammed look. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to mount this yet. Usually what I do on all my other cars is I use body posts in the rear onto the rear windshield, and then I'll use standoffs on the front bumper or servo mounts on the front shock tower with magnets. This looks like the shock tower lines right up with the hood scoop, but it looks like there's an area to put some standoffs on that front bumper to get some magnets mounted. But this body with these wheels actually has really nice fitment. See if I get you guys off the tripod, show you different angle. So that is looking very good. I wasn't sure if the rear ESC was going to fit. Obviously it's going to be raised up a little bit. It is sitting right on the fan there, but wanted to make sure the width and the wheelbase was going to work there, and it looks quite nice. So on to washing this thing. Alright, on to the washing. I'm not sure how well you guys are going to be able to hear me over the water running, but this is basically what I'm going to do. So I just quickly masked the windows with just some blue painter's tape, because I'm going to take an abrasive sponge here, and I'm going to use just regular blue Dawn's dish soap, and what my objective here is to scuff the surface slightly with some warm water and some soap in order to give this Lexan a better bite for the paint. I guess now realizing, but I'm also going to avoid scuffing those taillight buckets because those will get masked as well. This blue is just temporary. It's going to come off after I scuff the main painting surfaces, and that's just going to give the paint a better bite onto the Lexan and remove any mold release that might still be on the Lexan body. So what I'm going to do is just make sure the water's warm. I'm going to throw some soap in here, and then I'm going to get the sponge wet and start scrubbing it down. Now we have some nice clean Lexan to let dry, and we'll start masking them up. So while we're waiting for that Lexan to dry, just want to talk to you about masking. Now, depending on the body manufacturer you're going with, sometimes they have pre-cut window masks that fit that body perfectly. With Pandora RC, they have this QR code that will take you to a link on their website where you can pick the body you have purchased, and they have window mask templates. So there's a few ways of going about this to mask the body. On their website with the video they show, they essentially have you print this out on a piece of paper to get the general size, and then you put on the mask and trim around the outside of the window, and they show you a couple different methods to use in order to paint the window trim as well. If you're advanced enough and you have your own plotter and cutting software, you can figure out a way to trace these masks and get them cut on a plotter so then they fit on there. For me, I think I'm just going to go through and hand trim these with just my knife. That way I can just do the windows, and when I go to paint the window trim, I'm actually going to paint that on the exterior and trim the body protective layer first, spray some black on, let it dry, and then peel the body. But while we are talking about masks, for anyone that might have a Cameo or a Silhouette plotter, this is something that I normally do on my bodies, especially if I'm doing a livery. But I have made a few Shredcraft graphics, and I took my calipers and I went and measured where I want these to go. So I have a couple small ones where I want it to go on the side skirt of the car, and then another one for the rear hip of the car. So I'm going to go ahead, get those cut. And one thing to remember is if you're painting Lexan, you got to reverse these images. So usually you'll just right click or control click and flip those images horizontally. So then they come out reverse when you cut them, and when you put them on the body, they will be normal orientation. Just something to think about. Along with painting everything on Lexan, you have to think in a reverse pattern. So that's something I'm going to get done. I'll get those masks and we'll shoot over to masking the windows in the graphics once that body is dry. Alright, so the body is dry enough, and what I've gone and done is I went around all my window edges with a Sharpie. So when I flip it over and I'm working from the inside, I will be able to see where the edges of the windows are. And then I went and pre-cut just shapes for the windows with some bleed, and then I can apply those, and then I'll take my knife and trim around the outside nice and neatly. So I have taillights, side windows, front window, rear window. This is one of those processes where you want to slow down, take your time, because your final outcome is determined by how much prep work you put into getting the car ready for paint. I'm going to go ahead and start doing this. I'll try and film, the battery might die here. I'm going to flip it over and go ahead and start with the rear window here. And one thing I'll do when I'm doing window masks, they're always sometimes frustrating. So I'll start from the middle and work my way out, pushing any air bubbles out. And if you get a crease, you can lift it and reposition it. You're going to want to get it down as smooth as possible so there's no opportunity for paint to get under one of those wrinkles. Then I'll take my fingernail and I'll go over the edges to determine where I'll trim. That one's on. I'm going to move to the windshield. Now that the window masking is all done and complete, what I'm going to do is give it a wipe down on the inside with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, just to get all my greasy fingerprints off the Lexan before I start painting. And then of course we need to talk about paint. So for this, since I am going after the clean street car build, what I'm going to do is layer everything with a set of the Traxxas Pro Graphics transparent metal flake. So this will give it a really cool metal flake effect on the paint job. And then as far as paint, after running a few of my color swatches, what I decided to go with was this cool iridescent acid green. And it has a little bit of a color shift in it. And I just got this off Amazon, but I do have links in the description to other paints to use with airbrush, or if you prefer painting with a can, there are links to can paints. So this is called Chartreuse Flash. The brand is Homey Arty, so an Amazon brand. But one thing that I look at when I'm picking out paints for Lexan is that it's a water-based acrylic paint. This has an acrylic polymer in it, and that will allow it to remain flexible, so when you're getting hit on track, it's not going to flake off like a regular spray paint would. So I'm going to get this cleaned up, and by the next steps, we will start laying down some color on this brand new body. So I got the first layer of flake on there. Probably just going to do the one layer of flake and then start putting some color down once this flash dries. Alright guys, welcome to my Get a Little paint booth. I've got a few coats down here and the color is starting to show. So this acid green color I'm going with is kind of a translucent color, so it's going to take a lot of coats to get that deep look, but had a few mishaps with thinning it and things like that. I don't know if you can tell on camera right there on the hood scoop. Had a couple wet spots, but working through it, and the masks are still on. I think I'm going to run another test piece just to see if I should back it in black or do like a gold or maybe a white and then lay black down. But in process here, it takes time, gotta have patience. So I am going to keep cranking away on this, get a few more coats of the green down, run that test piece, see how it looks. So bam, there it is. It's done, right? Just kidding, this is going to be in black and white because I'm going to save the color reveal for the end here, guys. But the next step in the painting process, I stayed up late last night, got everything backed in black on the inside, but now it's time to paint the window trims. And the way that I've done this, and I learned from a few other people, was lightly scoring it with the Olfa blade here, and I'm going to go around all the windows, around the window trim, and just peel that protective layer off the trim, and I'm going to go back and spray my black on all those pieces. And then there's a few areas I think I'm going to cut out, possibly this center front grille here, and then maybe the hood scoop, the front scoop where the bumper will mount, possibly paint up the taillights, and maybe do a half split with the red and the clear. So some ideas I'm working with there. I'm going to go ahead and focus on keeping my blade inside these lines and getting a nice clean cut. I'll get it sprayed. I'll show you what it looks like before we peel the protective layer off, and then it will be time to think about mounting this onto the FRX and get some beauty shots. So stay tuned, and I'll be back with some painted up window trims. All the window trims and details are painted up, so I'm going to let this dry, probably flash overnight, and then glue it together, get you guys a body reveal. We are back, guys. It has been a couple days. I'll let the paint thoroughly dry. I got all the window trims painted up, started putting on a few stickers, but I figured we would peel the protective layer together. Check out this paint in detail. I'm calling it acid green because in some lights it reflects like a red pink. It may not pick up on camera, but acid green S13, kind of like that. Got the holes for the rear body post and then magnets in the front, and then I think eventually I'll do the pop-up headlights. A few mistakes, but the paint masks actually turned out pretty nice considering how small I made these. I kind of wanted to see how small I could do them. I've had trouble in the past where paint's peeled up after when I peeled the masks. Overall, I'm pretty happy with this paint job, and the only way to truly see it is to get these paint masks taken off. So this is always a good opportunity to fumble, fingerprint it up, but let's see what we can do here. It's always so satisfying taking this light film off, except when it gets stuck like that. Not too sure how the color change will come out on camera, but in person it's kind of wild. I've never really seen a color shift from green to red like that. So I think maybe I'll set up a little scene and get some beauties. If not, I'll get some beauties when I take it to the track. Try to get these on the video. I'm still waiting for that sensor cable to come. There is the freshly painted Pandora 1 via S13.
Chassis slide, flexing pride, sparks on the curve. Precision moves, tight grooves, never lose nerve. Lessons in the craft, learn the art we serve. Every corner conquered, we swerve, we preserve. Dream it, build it, every car's a masterpiece. Drift so smooth, make the chaos feel like peace. RC family, the bond will never cease. Shred craft life where the legends increase.
Well guys, I hope you enjoyed checking out the new body build for the MST FRX RS front motor project. So we're still in the very early stages of this, and like I had mentioned before in this series, that I want to make this and keep this a community build. So I'm looking for input, design ideas, things that you guys have done to your FRX builds, and let me know down in the comments below what you want to see and where we should take this car. In one of the previous episodes I had mentioned starting the designs, and I have the designs into the computer, but I need to drive the car stock first to see how I can improve it. So in some of the upcoming videos, we'll be taking the stock FRX to scale science and driving it down on the track to see how it feels and understanding how we can improve on this awesome front motor rear wheel drive RC drift car. So I want to hear what you guys think. What do you guys think of the color? It's kind of a unique, different color, and I'm sure you'll get some cool shots of it to see it in some different lighting to see this acid effect on this lime green to red color shift. It's kind of cool. I was a little hesitant at first to do it, but I am kind of happy with how it turned out. It's pretty unique. I feel like I don't see a lot of cars in this color, so I'm excited to go get it scratched up on track and grab some doors. But anyway, I just want to say thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate everyone tuning in and being a part of this build series. Let me know what you want to see in the future. Leave your comments down below. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button if you like the color, if you like the video. Don't forget to subscribe for more awesome RC content from Shredcraft RC. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Sideways on the asphalt we rain. Best tunes pumping, got that shred craft in the vein. Graphics so clean, every ride's the same.